Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be making another prediction for the 2022 election Senate. I will be making around one or two of these a month, and let's start with the safe states for the Democratic Party. Washington will be safe for Democratic. If you don't know what safe means in my characterizations, that means 15 points or more. This means likely Democratic, which is 7 points or more, lean Democratic, 2 points or more, or tilt Democratic, under 2 points. And 15 points or more for safer Republican, 7 points or more for likely Republican, 2 points or more for lean Republican, and tilt for 2 minus for tilt Republican. So the states I think will go to the Democrats in the 2022 Senate elections by over a safe margin will be Washington, Oregon, California, Vermont, Connecticut, New York, Maryland, Hawaii, and just barely Illinois. That is because I'm pretty sure Tammy Baldwin is up for election or re-election in Illinois, and she's a pretty strong candidate, especially since she was running, kind of running for vice president. Not, you can't really run. You know what I mean. She was one of the options towards the end. Colorado, I think, will go to, I believe John Hickenlooper is going to be running, and even if he doesn't, he will probably help who runs in his place. Either way, Colorado is a Democratic state, nonetheless, and will probably be a safe Democratic state. I do think Colorado will definitely be safe or likely for the Democratic candidate running in Colorado for Senate in 2022. Same with Nevada. Nevada just has that Democratic history. It's not nearly as safe as Colorado, but it tends to pick very good candidates. Because most of the people, since it's more of a competitive state, it's way more optimistic. Usually, both parties will end up feeling really good candidates, and generally, Nevada ends up picking the Democrats. And I think Nevada, this will be one of its strong years for the Democrats, despite it going to Joe Biden by less than it did for Hillary. I believe they will pick a Latino woman, probably. Even if not, it'll probably go to the Democrats anyway. New Hampshire, I think, will be probably likely for whoever runs there. I think it might be. No, actually, I don't know who'd be running here, because there's a lot of unknown things about the Senate anyway. About 2022. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering a lot. But right now, New Hampshire is looking at, actually, no, generally in that lean direction. I know Janine Shapiro, not Shapiro. That is not what I meant. I meant Shaheen. Jean Shaheen. She won here by over 15 points, around 16 points. But I don't think that she will, or I don't think that whoever runs here in 2022 will have that big of a win. I think they'll have a lean margin of a win. And honestly, that just makes more sense. I think eventually New Hampshire is just going to be one of those tilting Republican states instead of trending Democratic states. It's not always going to be a blue state, and New England is just that kind of area that's trending red over the past few elections. States I think will go to the Republican Party by over 15 points slash safe is North Dakota, South Dakota, Idaho, Utah, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Kentucky, Indiana, and Alabama. I think Kansas will be just under that safe margin, along with Missouri. Not much of an explanation for that. I think Ohio and Iowa, as they are rapidly trending red over the past two elections, I think that they're going to go for likely margin for Iowa, and since there's a Democratic incumbent in Ohio, I still expect him to lose, but by less than a likely margin, which I think he'll lose by around 5 points. Now, Marco Rubio, Um, I'm more of an independent, but I do know a strong candidate when I see them. Marco Rubio is very famous in the state of Florida. He won by, I believe, a likely margin in 2016, and I guarantee with Florida trending red uh, over twice the amount than it did in 2016, I do think that Florida will go likely for Marco Rubio again. For me, that it's just not too much in grasp. I think if Biden carried the state and could have represented it a little bit better than he did, I do think that it could be definitely in play. But either way, I see Florida generally going into the red direction, like the Midwest is in the Rust Belt. Speaking of the Rust Belt, I do think the incumbent Republican senator in Wisconsin, who will be running for re-election, I do think he will win here. However, despite the Rust Belt trending red, I do not see uh, Pennsylvania going for the Democrats. No, for the Republicans. I'm so sorry. I see both of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania being very close, just like they were this year. But I see Wisconsin going more to the right, and Pennsylvania staying around the same, maybe a little bit more to the right, but still, uh, Pennsylvania's more of one of those states that are going to be a different party, but you know it's not time yet. So Pennsylvania, I do think, will go blue in 2022 for the Senate race, but I think Wisconsin will go red. Now, South Carolina is part of the Sun Belt, pretty much automatically making it trend blue. South Carolina as a state, though, is very peculiar and interesting. It didn't really shift that much in the past few elections, but it generally is. It's just different groups are becoming different directions. Like Latino support is going more towards Republicans than ever before, with Donald Trump being incumbent. I don't necessarily get why, but also the white population with Biden running moved to the is moving to the left in the Sun Belt, at least in the Sun Belt. So right now, I know it'll go to the Republican either way, but I do see it going by around 6 points for whichever Republican wins here. I think Mark Meadows is running again in South Carolina. I do think South Carolina's big brother, North Carolina, will go by a similar margin. However, now, with both of these states being traditionally Republican, North Carolina I see staying and more solidifying that area, and that's something the Republicans have been trying to do for a long time, and they haven't been able to. But now that they don't need to focus on states like Ohio and Iowa, they can focus more on the state that they could lose grasp of if they don't focus on it. North Carolina is one of those states that they need to pay attention to in 2022. If they lose North Carolina, they probably lose the Senate majority. I don't see many paths for the Democrats to win in 2022 if Georgia goes how I think it will. But if it does, if Democrats do end up having the majority or taking the majority in 2022, I do see one of their only solutions to having that majority is North Carolina going blue. Now, with their newfound flips that a lot of people saw coming but didn't want to believe, Arizona, I do think will lean towards the Democratic candidate. What's his name? Mark Kelly. Mark Kelly, I do think will win his re-election here. I believe he's the tier 1 senator, junior, whatever. Arizona now votes blue on the presidential level, and now has 2 Democratic senators, and will probably have a Democratic governor soon, if it doesn't already. I don't necessarily know. So Arizona is going to be that full Democratic state, and that's what a lot of Democrats like to see. Uh, Another state that they need that they shouldn't focus on as much, but need to focus on a little bit so Republicans don't do what they got handed to them in the Rust Belt this time around. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody because I just spoke really fast. But basically, Arizona and Georgia are new trending blue states. Florida, Iowa, and Ohio are now trending red states. So begs the question, what areas are generally going what? Now, with Florida going more red, I do think generally the Sun Belt is going more blue. With Georgia going blue, Arizona going blue, South Carolina getting 5 points closer than it was, Texas getting 4 points closer than it was, Biden improving Hillary's margin in New Mexico by 4 points. I believe the Senate election in New Mexico was an improvement, uh, based on the fact that I'm pretty sure whoever won here was white. Not that that's a problem, but other way. Right now, I currently do think that both. Uh, it's weird. It's really hard to explain, but I do think Georgia right now is trending blue. But I don't know. These are the two most toss-up races ever. Neither candidate got 50%, hence why it's going to a runoff, and it's just hard to see going to both of the Democrats, but right now that's the direction it's headed. This is the same thing I said with Biden winning Georgia. I ended up predicting this whole election correct, including Georgia. I said it really didn't seem like it, but I guess this is the time. Towards the end, where you could notice that Biden was winning consistently in all of the polls, and though those may not always be correct, they give a general idea. And Alaska, I think, will go by a likely margin to whoever wins. Uh, just because not much can change in 2 years. Basically. I believe, yeah, Dan Sullivan won here by 12 points in this 2020 Senate election, and I don't think that it can shift that much to the left, even with a bad candidate on the right and a good candidate on the left. I do see Alaska having a lean potential, but we'll see once the candidates are fielded out. And I'll be updating you guys in the future around one to 3 times a month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm looking into getting people involved in this channel and growing more. So I'm really working hard